Hello and welcome to SudoKanard. Here is a weighted little killer Sudoku that I created as a practice puzzle regarding the next round of WPF Sudoku Grand Prix organized by South Korea. And this variation will appear in this round. So the special rule is that in standard little killer, whenever you have an arrow with a number, then the number is the sum of all digits in the direction of the arrow. So 16 is the sum of those 4 digits, and digits may repeat if allowed by the rules of Sudoku, meaning that this digit could very well be the same as this one. But of course, those 3 digits have to be different. And the special rule here is that all digits in shaded cells must be counted twice. So this 8 here is the sum of those 3 digits, but this one is double. So it's the sum of 4 digits, this one counted twice, and this one. And I created it starting with those 2 8s, because those 5 digits have a total minimum of 15. So if you need to have 16 with this digit repeated, the minimum value will be 16 in the case this being a 1. So this has to be a 1, it's counted double, and the remaining 4 cells must be 2, 3, 4, and 5. And actually knowing that this is counted as 2, those 2 digits must have a sum of 6, so they must be 2 and 4. And those 2 digits, therefore, must be 3 and 5, and that's really a total of 8. Now we can see that the remaining 4 cells must contain 6, 7, 8, and 9, but this 16 here include those 2 digits, and you see that the minimum here is 13, so the maximum value for the sum of those 2 digits is 3, so they must be from 1 and 2. And that means that in the case it can't be 2 and 2, because those 2 digits can't add up to 12. They could be 1 and 2 with a 6 and a 7. They could be 1 and 1 with 6 and 8. But you can't have a 9 on this diagonal, you need to have a 9 on this other diagonal, and you need to have the 6 on them. So that's not a 6, that's not a 6. Let's move on to this 9 and this 10. This 10. We know that this is not 1. What could it be? We could have a 2 counted double, so that in this case that's 4, and within another 6 with those 2 digits, which can be made with 1 and 5. So that's an option. What other options do we have? If we try to put a 3, but I counted double, so that's a 6, we need another 4. With those, we need 4 more in total, but the only way of having 4 as the sum of 2 digits is 1 and 3, and 3 repeats, so that doesn't work. If we try to make this 4, then this counts as 8, and we need to have 2 as the sum of 2 digits, which is impossible, and other digits are too big as well. So the only possibility is to have a 2 here, and 1 and 5 there, as I explained earlier. And in this case, the 9 here has only one option, which is 3 and 6. And the remaining 4 digits then must be 4, 7, 8, and 9. But then this 23 is not enough of a constraint to tell us what digits must be here. So we'll move on to 9 and 8 in here, which are small digits. And something similar to what was happening here is happening here as well. That's a total of 17 with this digit repeated. So we know the sum here with the naked digits would be at least 15. So this is at most 2, and it's not a 2, so it has to be a 1. Then those two digits must have a sum of 7, and those two digits a sum of 8. So that's a total of 15 without using the 1. And if you're used to Sudoku and all that stuff, you know that the only way of having 4 digits adding up to 15 without using the 1 is 2, 3, 4, and 6. But here we must have 6, so that has to be 2 and 6. We must have 8, sorry, so the only option is 2 plus 6, but there's a 2 here, so that's a 6 and that's a 2, and we get a 3, 4 pair in here. But then this 6 resolves the 3, 6 pair in here, which resolves the 5, 3 pair in here, and this 5 in turn resolves the 1, 5 pair, and this one puts a 2 here, and a 4, and a 2, and a 1. So that's a lot happening. This 4 is not here. And now on this 16 diagonal we already have 3, so the sum here must be 13. We remove the 8 and we get a 6, 7 pair, but there's a 6 down there, so that's a 7, that's a 6, and we are left with an 8, 9 pair, and we can remove this option of 7. I'm just checking that I'm not forgetting anything in this area. This 3, 4 pair is still not resolved. This can only be 7, 8, or 9, and here we have options 5, 7, 8, and 9. And because we have 1 and 2 here, this is at least 3. So this is at least 3, and this is at least 4 because of this. So that's a total of at least 10 because 3 is counted twice. So this has a maximum of 1, so it has to be a 1, and this has to be a 3, and this has to be a 4, which resolves the 3, 4 pair. Now this 18, what can it be? It can't be 3 and 8, can't be 4 and 7, can't be 5 and 6 because there would be no candidate for this, so it has to be 2 and 9, and 2 can only be here with the 9, which resolves the 8, 9 pair. And this can't be a 9 anymore. On this row we still need 5, 6, and 7. And this here can't be a 6. Here the candidates are 5, 6, 7, and 8. So this is 7 or 8. This can't be 7, so 5, 6, or 8. And then I'm just double checking I'm not forgetting anything. Because of this, here the candidates are 6, 7, and 9. And let's move on to this 17 because we have somewhat big digits here. I think that's the place to look. This has a minimum of 12, so this plus that has a maximum of 5. Maximum of 5, but here that's a minimum of 1. But 4 wouldn't work. We would need a maximum of 1 here, which is not possible. So this has to be a 1. So minimum of 13, so that's a maximum of 4, and the only option is a 3. So that's 4, and we need 13 in the inside, so there must be 5 and 8. So that's not 8, and that's not 5 or 8. And now this 17 is fulfilled. Where else do we look? What about this 13? This 30, sorry. The maximum value we have with those 3 digits is with 7, 7, 8, which is 22. So that's a minimum of 8. This is 8 or 9. And this, so we only have 1 degree of freedom, which means that this will never be 5 or 6. For example, if I try to make this a 6, then the other 3 digits must add up to 24, and I'm sorry, but this is possible with 7 here, 8 there, and 9 there. So that's a bad choice. But 4 here is impossible, definitely. If I try to make those 3 add up to 25, that just doesn't work. And I think a 5 here wouldn't work either. That's correct. If I try to put a 5 here, then I need another 25. Oh, but that works. No, that doesn't work. The maximum here is 15. So that doesn't work. Well, where else should I look? So down there I need a 4 somewhere. Is it about this part? As you see, oh, that's actually a 4-8 pair. As you see, I created the puzzles a few days ago, but I don't remember what's to be done. This is very helpful in a way. So let's move on to this 23. How do we do that? The question could be, could I not use the 4 in here? If I don't use the 4 in this part, then the minimum value is with 7, 8, which is 15, plus 6, that's 21, and this is too big. So 4 must be one of them, and 4 can't be here. So we need a 4 here, and the remaining 3 digits must have a sum of 19. But the minimum with those 3 digits is with 6, 4, 7, which is 17, so that's a maximum of 6, so that has to be a 4, and that's 8. So we know there are 2 4s, and the remaining 2 digits must have a sum of 15. So one of them plus that must be 15. So you see that this 9 doesn't work. We would need to have a 6 in here. But 6 would work with the 9 and the 4, and 7 would work with a 4 and an 8. So that's some patient pruning, I would say. And what is the next step? I seem to remember there was more to do at this point. But I don't remember where. I don't think it's about 49. I thought there was more to do in this area. Actually, 8 has to appear in here, I think. Because if I don't choose 8, I have 13, and I can't make those 2 add up to 17. So 8 is in one of them. I can remove this 8. 8 8 and 6 works with 7 and 9 on the outside. 8 and 7 works with a total of 15 on the outside. Now, what else can I see? Oh, standard Sudoku, sorry. 4 and 8, they are not in here, but they must appear somewhere on this row. So 4 has to be here, and 8 has to be here. That's it. So this 4 is not here, and this 8 makes this a 7, that's a 5, that's a 6, that's an 8. We don't have a 5 here. And now we know that the sum of those two is 15, so the sum of those two should be 15 as well, but there are two options. But this 7 now resolves the 9-7 pair in here, and that's a 9, that's an 8, that's a 7, and we can see that we have 16, so this is 7 and this is 6. Here we have candidates 5, 7, and 9, and here those are 2, 3, and 6. Here we have 4, 5, and 9, and here this is 1, 3, and 8, but 3 is not possible here. Here we have 3 candidates as well, 4, 8, and 9, and here this is 2, 3, and 5. I can remove this 4 and this 8. So where do we look? So this 30, that's also 8 or 9. So we also have 3 values in here, 1, 2, and 5. And here 4, 6, and 7. I can remove this 2, this 6, and this 7. So where do we look? Well, one place to look is this diagonal, because there's parity in here. We know that this sum here is even, and we know that this is even. This counts as an even number because it is doubled. This counts as an even number as well, and this is odd, so the sum of all of this is odd, so this has to be odd to get an even total. So that's a 7 and that's a 6. And to get this 30, we get this 9 and this 8. Let's do some tidying up. Is that how it's said? I'm never quite sure. Some cleaning, perhaps. Now we know more about this. What do we know? That's 48, but we have 22 with those 3 digits. So those must account for 26, which means that their naked sum is 13. And you see that there are 2 options, 8 and 5 or 4 and 9. So we must remember this. Let's look at this 51. We already have 21, so this plus that must be 15. We can remove the 4. So there's a 4 in this cell. But there are 2 options, 8 and 7 or 9 and 6. Let's have a look at this 47. We already have 25, so this plus that must account for 22, so they must add up to 11, so that's not a 9. This is slow pruning. And then there's this 49. We already have 21. So those must account for 28. So they must add up to 14. So they must be, the only option is a 5-9 pair. And this part is on the tricky side. Let's remember what is happening here. We either have 5 and 8 or 4 and 9. But then, if this is 5 then we get a 9 here by standard Sudoku. But if this is 4, then this is 9, and then this is 5, and because this is a 5-9 pair, this is also a 9. So in both cases, this can only be a 9, and this is a 5, with a 9 in the 7. So this 5 is not here. And because of this 7, we now know that this is a 4, I think. That's correct. With a 7 and a 6, and this 6 is completed by a 9 because they had to add up to 15. So that's an 8, and we need 13, so that's a 5, that's a 4. We get a 1 here. That's not 1, that's not 8. What about this? I'm looking for other eliminations, but I'm not sure what I'm overlooking. This here can only be a 3, I think, because of the digits it's in. Yes, that's a 3. So we get 8, 1, and 3 here. That's not 3. That's not 3. 3. That's a 4. That's a 7. Here we need 2, 5, 6, and 8. So 2, 6, oh, that's not 8. 2, 5, 6, or 8. Here we have a 2, 5, 6 triple, so that's a 1. We still need the 9 somewhere on this row. It's here, and that's 2 or 5. And I think that's all we have, except that we still have this total on the diagonal that I added at the last moment. And it will help us choose this. If I recall correctly, that has to be a 2 because that's what makes the puzzle unique. So here those count double, so that's 10, 21, 26, plus 16, 42, so that has to be a 2. And then the rest is just plain Sudoku simplification, eliminations, and that should be a 6, and that's it. So this is the end of this puzzle of 9. I hope you liked it. I'm not sure I'm not sure this does really justice to the variation. I'm not fully satisfied with the puzzle. I won't lie, because I think the beginning just resolves too easily, and at some point it's a bit of a struggle, I think, and I'm really not satisfied of the need of putting something on this big diagonal to make this unique. I would have really enjoyed having all those symmetric clues just producing a unique puzzle. But that will be it. Thanks for watching this video, and see you soon on SudoKanard.